Hello, I'm Randy Rodney, a broker with your team, your real estate professionals at Century 21 Percy Fulton Limited Brokerage. Welcome to our channel, and we hope that you'll enjoy this video. If you are interested in learning more about real estate, click the link in the description to sign up, and we'll send you a series of educational videos all about real estate. Now remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click on the bell icon so you can stay up to date on all our future uploads. And join us live most Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, let's get started with the video. The marketplace in November, the Toronto Real Estate Board released the statistics. So let's get into what's going on in the GTA in Toronto and surrounding areas. Sales are down 49.4%. 49.4%, that's almost half. And so we've been talking this for a little while, nothing really surprising there. But at the same time, it may not be surprising. Can you please mute me? It may not be surprising because we've been having low sales since March, quite frankly. So we're talking about 50% less sales, pretty much. So between 45 and 50, roughly speaking. New listings are also down 11.6%. Now, that's really where our major concern really kind of is because in order for what the Bank of Canada is looking for prices to really be reduced, what we're seeing is new homeowners not wanting to sell their property now. So and we're looking at 11% less. And remember, over last year, last year we were having a problem as well. We were really low with inventory. And this year, there's even less inventory coming to the market. So sellers are definitely refraining from selling right now. And that's what we're sort of seeing on the market. The concern really becomes, how long can they do this for? That's really what the concern is. So Mike, just wanted to say that my screen, I'm actually on that screen. So if you wanted to show it, you could.
Can I interject here though?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you kind of said. So you said the new listings are down overall, right?
11.6%.
Yes.
Yeah.
But active listings overall are up. So yes.
Yeah, almost 100%.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So, but which is really good that you bring that point up. Active listings are up 95.7%, which really is saying, hey, buyers have more choice, right? Yes, they have more choice than last year, but guess what their choice is full of?
Crap.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Then I would be saying all the inventory is crap. But it's full of home sellers that are trying to get prices that no longer exist, because the market has been coming down, and as the market has come down, they're trying to get, the month before and the month before and the month before that prices, so buyers are sort of saying, well, no, I'm not going to pay those kind of prices. Sorry. And so that inventory is sitting. So we're seeing, remember, sales are cut in half. So if sales are cut in half, then inventory is definitely growing. But new listings that are coming out are very, very low. Yeah. And that's where really the problem is. That's really what we look to, because you're always going to have a portion of the population, in this case, the sellers, who are a little disgruntled with the marketplace. I really don't blame them, especially since this is a government-induced, the government-induced assault on real estate, really. By bringing interest rates up so rapidly that the buyers really can't really afford a home. The prices may be coming down, but the affordability is getting worse. And And so what we're really looking at in terms of that, and I've got a graph, but it won't work for the radio, and we're on radio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to speak
Graph
more from my
language?
head, but I will also show the graph if Mike is sharing my screen. So the average price is down 7.2%, and that is actually over last year. So what we're seeing, I believe, is the last 3 months in a row, we're actually doing an average price that's below last year. Now, one of the things to keep in mind with that is that I believe by the end of the year, we will still have an average price that is over last year. So through history, this will be a very, what can I say, traumatic time, really, honestly, with government policies. And we've certainly learned that it really doesn't matter what's happening in our economy. Our governments have full reign to do whatever they want. If they want to take money from the average person, which would be all the sellers, all the buyers, because sellers are getting less money and buyers are paying more monthly for all the homes, even the homes that they would have bought in February. Their monthly payments now are more than they would have been buying that high-priced home off of the seller in February. Now remember, one thing is, if you bought that high-priced home off of the seller in February, that money goes to the seller. But today you're buying a lower-priced home, which means that seller is not getting that money. Where's that money going? Well, now you're paying more money for the lower-priced home monthly, and that money's going all to the institutions. And so the government has this ability to take from the public and give to the institutions. And the reason why we're in this is because the government took from the public and gave to the institutions back then when they brought out all the bonds and did the whole bond swap thing with the banks and did what they call, really cute name, quantitative easing, which is really where you make the institutes much richer and you can flood the market with some money. And the good thing about the Bank of Canada, basically what their point of view being it being a good thing, is that they can go back and suck that money back out of the, because they're not printing the money, so it's not forever in circulation. They can do quantitative tightening and suck that money back out of the economy, and therefore we're sitting there playing musical chairs without chairs, and there's not enough money floating around, and a lot of people get hurt. And in the meanwhile, that as the government's raising the rates, the banks are making more money off of the quantitative easing that took place. So institutions are making more money, is the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying that the Bank of Canada or Tiff Macklin or whatever, that they're crooked and all this. It is all 100% legal. What I'm saying is it's actually unethical. It is an unethical move, and it was wrong at the time. And it's even worse now. And now, unfortunately, the Bank of Canada has no choice in how they have to deal with it. So all these things that we don't like that they're doing, they have to do. It's the right thing for them to do. The problem isn't, are they doing the right thing right now by basically bankrupting a portion of our population? Are they doing the right thing? Yes, they are. But why do they have to bankrupt a portion of our population? Sellers who need to get out of the market because that was their retirement and so they were hoping for that money. No, they've sucked that into the institutions. Why do they have to do this? Because they did the quantitative easing the way they did it. And therefore now we are here with high inflation, and this is their only way to combat, the only tool they have to combat the high inflation is to continuously raise these rates and destroy industries that are dependent on rates.
And so that's really kind of what's sort of happening. This is why the drag on price, on home prices, is happening now below last year. Now, I do want to say it is a little bit of a coincidence that March was a month where the market was already had enough and it had boiled to its tip. And so we were already going to see adjustments within the marketplace on pricing. It was happening naturally. Unfortunately, the Bank of Canada came and gaslit the situation. And sort of that's where we are right now. Now, one other thing is that even though we're there, the market has been really resilient in comparison to the pressures that are in the marketplace. And so what I mean by that is that the prices are coming down slower than the rates are going up. And that's why buyers are paying more for their homes than they were before when the prices were higher with the lower rates. Now, I made this graph that I am actually kind of in love with, and the reason being is because the graph really clearly shows this year what happened to the average price. It shows how it dipped, where it flatlined. It started flatlining in July. And so we started with 1.2 in January. 1.2 million dollars was the average price for a home, and that grew in February to 1.3 million, actually 1.334 million as an average price. So in 1 month you saw $100,000 increase in the average price. That's insane. We don't want a marketplace like that where homeowners are making $100,000 in a month. That just doesn't make sense. It's not good for anyone. No one would very few people would be able to buy homes under these conditions. So that's why I'm imagining that was the peak of our marketplace, and it was climbing prior to January, but that was the peak of the market, and I think that's why buyers then just said, forget about this, we're not dealing with this. 40 of us have to go in and fight for a house, and 39 of us lose, and we're bidding that house up to and they just cut it off. Then the bank started with the increases in March, did a 25% increase, dropped the price down from 1.334 to 1.298. So a little bit of a decline to 1.251. And then it kept declining from the 1.3 in February down to the 1.073. So almost a 30% decline in the marketplace. But all the while, the interest rates went from 0.25 to today 4.25. So 4% increase, which is just massive. So what happened? So what we did is with this graph is we took the actual bank rate, the Bank of Canada rate, and the rate increases that they did this year, plopped them in the months that they belong in, and we took the average price on the Toronto Real Estate Board and created that graph. And then we did each month, we did what the mortgage would be if it was a 100% mortgage. So we have to do something theoretical here. We did 100% on the value of the home, just so we could find out what is the difference. Because everybody puts a different amount down. Some people are putting 5% down, some people are putting 25% down, 50%, 100% down. So we had to pick a scenario. So the scenario was, let's find out with the price of each month, what the average price was with the interest rate that the Bank of Canada had, so we can see what the effect, the dollar effect was for buyers using that Bank of Canada rate. And so theoretically, you can't get that Bank of Canada rate. That's only available to the banks. However, it does allow us to see what was going on. And when back in January, when you had to pay 1.25 almost for a house at a quarter of a point, your mortgage would have been, if you could have got 100% mortgage, and we know you couldn't, but it's a sample, $4,272. But in November now, with a 3.75% rate, and an average price of only $1,079,000, so 1.079, your mortgage payment would be $5,533. So you are saving yourself almost $300,000 on the purchase price, but it's costing you $1,300 more to afford that. That's insane. That's why I love this graph, because it really helps you to see that dysfunction in the marketplace. Now, this dysfunction is not only relative to this graph. This is the part that I really want to touch on here. This dysfunction where you have prices drop $300,000, almost $300,000, and you have to pay $1,300 more. And so this graph is gone in a direction that makes no sense. But that's not the only thing that doesn't make sense here. Now we are just learning this stuff, and we don't want to learn this, but unfortunately, the Bank of Canada has forced us to try to figure out what the heck is going on here. You know, could our kids go through a situation like this and lose their fortunes because of the way the Bank of Canada handles the economy? Yeah. They could. So we got to turn around and try to figure this stuff out and help our kids to say, whoa, 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 be careful out there. You got to be really, really conservative, because when you think times are good, the bank could come in and totally change those times with policies and move the money from the people to institutions. And it's such a strange thing. So there's this inverted yield curve that we did some research on before, remember, and we still couldn't quite understand it. But really what it is, this is from a layman here, I'm not an economist or anything, but it's really the short-term bond, how much it's worth, versus the long-term bond and how much it's worth. And so when these graph gets inverted, so the long-term bond is not worth as much as the short-term bond. So long-term money is not good. It's lower than short-term money. What happens is, it turns out that when this happens, when it inverts, that it is a 100% indicator of a recession coming, because your long-term money has less value than your today money. And so, boom, recession. So this is what that inverted yield curve is. Someone had written into us a while ago. We couldn't answer it. Now we're starting to figure it out. So supposedly the last 8 recessions, you can go and you'll see prior to that an inverted yield curve, 100% telling you what's going to happen in the future. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because it's telling us, just like this graph, that everything is out of whack. In this graph, you buy a house for $300,000 less and you're paying $1,300 more for it. That's out of whack. And then then you look at the inverted yield curve. It's out of whack. Long-term money is worth less than short-term money. That means that the long-term vision is not as good as the short-term, and that means there's hard times coming. And so that's the next thing that doesn't make sense. And then to put it all together, the Bank of Canada, for the first time in history, is losing money. Hey, that means that the Bank of Canada, they lost $522 million last quarter. Never before have they ever lost money. Who has to pay that? Taxpayers. So the Bank of Canada has, in essence, gone bankrupt. And they know that for the next period, or however period of time, that they are going to be losing hundreds of millions of dollars per quarter, every quarter. So they're in essence bankrupt. But because we are the ones, the people, who turn around and give them their money back so that they can survive another year, they turn around. Why are they losing this money? Because they're giving it to the institutions. We're getting hit both ways here. It's a really sad state of affairs, and that's why we're seeing the marketplace go the way it's going.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. And please let us know your thoughts in the comments, as well as any questions you may have. We're live most Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure to tune in. If you're interested in learning more about real estate, click the link in the description to sign up, and we'll send you a series of educational videos all about real estate. Thank you again for watching, and remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon so you can stay up to date on all our future uploads.